our project is London's first OnSide Youth Zone. It was built in Parcels Park, a greenfield site in the heart of Barking and Dagenham. The Youth Zone is a purpose-built facility for the borough's young people aged 8 to 19 and up to 25 with those with disabilities. The infrastructure of facilities is based upon OnSide's 21st century youth mode for deprived areas across the UK. Barking and Dagenham being the third most deprived local authority area in England out of 326. 37% of the young people live in poverty and 1 in 10 adults are out of work. So making this affordable for low-income families. The Youth Zone itself is £5 annual membership, 50p per visit and £1 for a nutritious meal. It's open 7 days a week, and the Youth Zone provides the young people a safe environment, somewhere for them to go, somebody to talk to in order to raise their aspirations and confidence, and hopefully give them a better, healthier generation. The 42,000 square foot facility provides an array of world-class facilities, including a 4-court sports hall, a state-of-the-art climbing frame, 3G kick pitch, skate parks, multimedia studios, etc. Before we even come to the table as a main contractor, OnSide engaged a young development group from the community. It's made up from schools, colleges and local community groups. They're involved in the brand and the image, and they also named the building Future. The project started in January. They held a sod cutting event which was honorary guest Mark Noble, the captain of West Ham. And then whenever we completed the project in March, it was officially opened by His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex on the 11th of April 2019. The project is funded, well, the capital funding is from 50% private investors, so everybody from the Queen's Trust to Tesco's to Odeon Cinemas and to celebrities, and 50% local authority. Just to put that into some sort of perspective, the building itself cost around 4.9 million, so 2.5 million pounds of that was invested through donations from the private sector.
Well, as a project in London, obviously that entails a lot of problems, but one of the issues that we came across was the handling of the spoil, which had to be at one stage initially removed off site, but then the plans were changed and the spoil was kept on site. And what we did was we formed large snaking mounds around the perimeter of the site, and those mounds were formed, and then after they were formed, we subsequently planted informal trees around the top of the mounds, and what that did was actually filter the impact of the elevation on the surrounding area, and it also meant that it greatly reduced the amount of materials that we had to remove off site. Another aspect which came along and hit us was a Grenfell implication, where the timber cladding initially was just passed to be stained, and if you look at the elevations within the video, the timber cladding is a very important aspect of it, and it gives the building a certain edge. Not only was the sheeting to be applied in a random fashion with abutting joints and miters, but also it had to be stained to 2 different colours. But then building control requested, when we were on site just prior to us ordering the cedar sheeting, that it had to be fire protected. That presented a problem. We assessed the implications of maybe applying a 4-coat system with a brush, but then we needed to have ideal conditions with regards to dust, rain. We needed somewhere to cover the timber. Then when we came to site, and then when we were using the timber, we had to do miters, but when we cut the timber, that meant the edges of the board would have to be treated. For us to do that on site would be very difficult, so then we investigated another option, which was to totally impregnate the board with a fire protection product. That's the option we did do, and then we spray applied off-site the finished colour, and then when it came to site it was able to be fitted, and so the miters, even if they were cut, the board was still fully protected, and also importantly the sprayed finish was far superior to the painted board finish samples which we had provided at the start, and so we believe that there certainly impacts on the overall elevation of the building.
Well, we feel as a company that this project should win the award. It's a very dynamic building. It will not only influence the current generation but future generations to come, which will impact the community on a wider scale. Not only the experience which Piperhill have gained through building this project, for example, adding to our design and build portfolio and the opportunity to tender more of these projects, but also the legacy that this building leaves behind once we move off site. One of the current and unfortunate issues in London at the moment is knife crime, and statistics have shown that from the 13th youth zones that has been built, and obviously Barking and Dagenham, which we constructed, the local police have reported that there has been a 50 to 77% drop in antisocial behaviour from the youth zones opening. Also, the young people that have been interviewed and statistics have been gathered, and it has shown that they have increased their confidence by 89%. They've also developed social skills and enhanced their health and well-being, and they have the ability to understand and build upon their emotional intelligence and resilience. There has been an over 200% return on social investment, including the creation of new jobs. But most importantly, I think the inclusive culture of the youth zone ensures that the young people can come together no matter what their ability or background and socialise together as one.
The youth zones are spread across the UK. They are built in neutral, accessible and prominent areas of towns and cities. On-site have built to date 13 youth zones, which commenced about 2008. Another 6 projects are planned, and some ones in Warrington, which we have just priced, Grimsby, Barnsley, Huddersfield, Dewsbury and Stoke-on-Trent. Their target is ultimately to build 100 youth zones for the next generation, reaching tens of thousands of disadvantaged young people. Prior to Piperhill being awarded this contract, there was a meeting with Rob Carter, who is the Deputy Chief Executive of Youth Zone, and he had said at that meeting, which was probably about a year and a quarter ago, that they had recently been to Belfast City Council and had explored the possibility of building a youth zone in Belfast. But what he did say at the time, he found that the problem seemed to be on what side of the community to build it, and so he joked and he says maybe we'll just have to build 2, but undoubtedly they intend to come to Northern Ireland.